Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. So today, inshallah, we're going to continue the I'rab table. Okay? So we said we have I'rab Asli and I'rab Far'i. And then I'rab Far'i Asli is Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra and Hazfu Haraka. And then I'rab Far'i, we have these mentioned Asma'u Sitta, the Muthanna, Jam'u Mudhakkar Salim, Jam'u Muannas Salim, which he called Al-Jam'u bil Alifi wa Ta'il Mazidatayn, and Ma La Yansarif. What we're discussing now is something called Amthilatul Khamsa. Okay, let's explain that shortly. Wal Amthilatul Khamsa. This is again mansoob because this is the adf and the illa we had. So before, illa al-asma as-sitta is mustathna from there. It's adf on that one. So the I'rab says marfu' bil damma, mansoob bil fatha, majrurun bil kasra, mazum bi hazf al haraka, illa al asma' as sitta wa illa al amthilat al khamsa. Amthila is a plural of mithal. And mithal is another word in ilm sarf, or in the knowledge, in the science of sarf, for sigha. So you have sigha and you also have mithal. So mithal means sigha. What does sigha mean? One particular form of the verb. Understood? So, except the amthilatul khamsa. Except the amthila al khamsa. You following? Yes? Okay. What are the amthila khamsa? Taf'alan, wa hiya taf'alan, wa taf'alun, bil ya'i wa ta'i fihima. So it says here, wa taf'alin. So basically, any Fi'lun Mudari' which does not have a noon, which has a noonul i'rab at the end. Yes? So which has noon i'rab at the end? When you have yaf'alani and then taf'alani. So you have yaf'alani and taf'alani. You have yaf'aluna and taf'aluna. So you have two here. Taf'alani, yaf'alani, taf'aluna, yaf'aluna, two more, and taf'alina. But instead of writing out four different words, he just write taf'alani and taf'aluna with ya or with ta. So by writing one word, he can say two. So yaf'alani and taf'alani bil ya'i wa ta. So it is 5 sigha. Okay, 5. So this applies to any verb. So all verbs have sighas. So the 5 sigha of the verb. And which 5 sigha? Those which have noonul i'rab at the end. And these are taf'alani and yaf'alani, taf'aluna and yaf'aluna, and taf'alina. These have noonul i'rab at the end. So when they are marfu, so we say فَتُرْفَأُ بِثُبُوتِ النُّونِ, they remain in the marfu state by having a noon. The noon remains intact. وَتُجْزَمُ وَتُنْسَبُ بِهَزْفِهَا. When they marfu, when they mansoob or when they majzoom, the noon drops off. Okay? And he gives an example. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَنْ تَفْعَلُوا. So here in the Quran we have the sigha taf'aluna. What sigha do we have? Taf'aluna. You following? Now taf'aluna is majzoom state. So what happens to this? The noon drops off. Similarly here, lan taf'aluna, mansoob state, the noon drops off. And the marfu state we had examples previously. So any verb, the amthilatul khamsa, are the 5 sigha of any fi'l mudari' which has noonul i'rab at the end. These are called al-amthilatul khamsa, the 5 sigha which have noonul i'rab at the end. Okay? So when they are marfu, the noon remains intact as mentioned before. And when they manzoom or mansoob, then the noonul i'rab drops. So فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَنْ تَفْعَلُوا. You understood? Any questions regarding that? Abdullah, Muhammad, Saqib? Yeah, Muhammad, you following? I don't understand the question. In our book is called?
So what stage is Zayd? The word Zayd?
In your books. Okay. The reason is that they've not done the adf on, he's saying in his book is Amthilatul Khamsa. I don't think that's correct because I think the authors and the writers and the publishers, not the authors but the publishers, forgot to remember it's adf illa. That's why they have illa Amthilatul Khamsa too. But it's really adf on the top remember at the beginning, before Asma al-Sitta, you have illa al-Asma al-Sittata. That was mustasna, that's why it's mansoob. So even this is mansoob from the i'rab far'i, i'rab asli. So the first sentence was, it's marfu with this, mansoob with this, majroor with this, majzoom with this, except, and all of the other types are mustasna, illa al-asma al-khamsa, illa al-jam' al-mudhakkar salim, illa ulat, illa fulan, and illa al-amthilata al-khamsata. Do you understand now why I've read it mansoob? Okay. Now, the last i'rab, well, the i'rab lafzi, is if'alul mudari'. Correct? If'alul mudari'. Now this al-fi'l al-mudari', and this al-mu'tal is in the meaning of alladhi. Al-mu'tal means weak. So this is mudaf, this is mudaf, and this is mudafun ilayhi. Okay? Now the rule is, what's the problem, Abdullah? What's the big problem here if you make it mudaf? How can you make it mudaf? Because in mudaf it never has what? Alif lam. So that's a general rule. You will discuss this. We'll discuss this in Qatr An-Nada as well. If you have an amil, meaning ismul fa'il, ismul fa'il, ismul maf'ul, ismul fa'il, ismul maf'ul, yes, and they become mudaf. These become mudaf. And the mudaf ilay is the ma'mul of one of these. The ma'mul becomes the mudaf ilay. Then you are allowed to have alif lam. Okay? So for example, in the Quran you have wal muqimis salati, wal muqimis salah. Those who establish salah, wal muqimis salah. So now this salah is the mudafun ilay. It's also what? The ma'mul of the mudaf. Which is what? The mudaf is here. Mudaf, mudafun ilay. And this is the amil. So therefore, this can have alif lam. So in this particular case, you're allowed to have alif lam on the mudaf. So إلا الفعل المضارع المعتل الآخر. You understand the i'rab? المعتل الآخر. You got it? Yes? So except for the fi'l al-mudari' whose ending is mu'tal. And what does mu'tal mean? It has a harful illa. So if a fi'l al-mudari' has a harful illa, then what will happen? When it becomes majzoom, the harful illa will drop. So for example, if we look at the naqis word, what we call in sarf naqis, meaning it ends in a harful illa. It's from nasara yansuru. So it's really what? Ghaza yaghzu. Yes? So what's happened is really supposed to be yaghzu. It's supposed to be yaghzuwu. You just drop that all together. Yaghzu. Walam yakhsha. It's supposed to be yakhsha. Khashiya yakhsha. What is it? Khashiya yakhsha. And you drop, what do you do now? You drop the ya. Khashiya yakhsha. You drop the ya. And it's supposed to be yarmi. When it's majzoom state, you drop the ya. Lam yarmi becomes lam yarmi. Understood? Okay, what's the question? I can't read the question now, Muhammad. What is the question? You can say it out to me. Okay. Do you understand the ruling here? Do you understand the ruling of the text? Yes. Yeah, so when it's majzoom, the harful illa from the end drops. Okay, the question was regarding this mudaf and mudaf ilay rule. Okay, so the rule is, if you have a mudaf ilay structure, the rule is mudaf cannot have alif lam. Okay, you understood that much? Let's keep your mic on so I can speak easier. Now, if the mudaf is an amil, it governs the mudaf ilay. Yes? So let's say, for example, I have al-qari. So you have qari. What does qari mean? The one who reads. Qari'un. So if you have qari'ul kitabi. Yes? What kind of sigha is qari? Ismul fa'il. Good. And ismul fa'il, is that an amil or not an amil? Is it a governing word or not a governing word? Bidanna in our sughra. That what? Asma'un tushbihul fa'la. It resembles the verb. So you have qari'ul kitab. So now this is a governing word. So what is kitab becoming to? Forget the i'rab and the structure. Qari', the one who reads, al-kitab. What is kitab becoming of qari'? What does kitab become? In meaning wise. Meaning wise, what does qari' become? Sorry, kitab become? Maf'ul bihi, he's the one reading the book. So we would say qari' is the amil and kitab is what? The ma'mul, the thing being read. It's the amil is governing, the qari' is governing the kitab, is doing amal on the kitab. It's the ma'mul of the ismul fa'il. Yes? Okay? So far so good? Because it is the thing being read. That's why this is the ma'mul of the qari', because this is the thing being read. What is being read? Al-kitab is being read. So now you have qari'ul kitabi. Does that make sense? Now, so because of this structure, all the conditions are being found. The mudaf is of amil, mudaf ilay is a ma'mul. This is governing this. This is doing amal upon this. So now, if you wanted to, and insert, you can put here. You can say, for example, hadaya huwa al-qari'ul kitabi. He is the one who reads the book. So normally you wouldn't be allowed to put alif lam on a mudaf. But because there are certain conditions, so it's not showing ownership, it's showing reader of the book, is showing he's doing the action on the book. So in this scenario, you're allowed to have alif lam on the mudaf. And you still call it mudaf ilayh. More details will come when we do the majroor and towards the phrases section of this book, the ending section. We'll discuss idafa and the two types of idafa. But for now, have you got the rough idea?
Yes, indeed. But when you write it out,
Ji.
Okay.
Yeah, it's made majroor, but it's okay. The question, a very good question. The question is, well, is mudaf ilay not always the majroor ma'mul of the mudaf? Yes, because ma'mul is the mudaf is what makes the mudaf ilay majroor. But here in this aspect, it doesn't mean like ownership. So, for example, if we have a mudaf ilay with kitabu Zaydin, so is kitab taking place on Zayd, or is Zayd owning the kitab? Yeah, and here the qira'ah, the reading of the book. So the action is taking place on the book, as opposed to kitabu Zaydin. Do you understand? So for example, if we have, for example, another example, let's do the same structure. Instead of qari'ul kitab, if we write dukkanul kitab. Yes? So it's a bookshop, but is dukkan happening to kitab? No, it's qara'a happening to kitab. So that's what it means by ma'mul. It doesn't mean, okay, it makes it the mudaf ilayh, but it means here, the action understood from the ismul fa'il, the action understood from the ismul maf'ul, it takes place on the mudaf ilayh. So in this case, then you can have alif lam on the mudaf. So mu'tal is ismul fa'il. So the akhir is the fa'il of the ismul fa'il. So mu'tal, to be weak. Yes, so mu'tal is to be weak. So so basically, we have mu'tallun. What does mu'tallun mean? I'talla, to be weak, and mu'tallun, the one who is weak. So al-akhir is actually the fa'il. It is the one being weak. So now we have mudaf ilay. But because this is the ismul fa'il, yes? And this is the fa'il, this is the one who is being weak. So you have here amil and a ma'mul, not in terms of this mudaf ilay, but the action of mu'tal, of being weak, is taking place on al-akhir. So therefore we allow to have alif lam. So you say al-mu'tallul akhiri or al-mu'tall al-akhiri. You got the gist of it? And more details will follow, inshallah. Abdullah, you following? Okay. So now we finish our i'rab asli and i'rab far'i. So let's summarize again. We'll do another summary tomorrow, inshallah. But just for now, okay, we have i'rab asli and i'rab far'i. So i'rab asli means the general i'rab is what? When it's marfu, what will it have? Carry on, come on. Dhamma. When it's mansoob, it will have a fatha. When it's majroor, it will have a kasra. When it's majzoom, it will have a sukoon, or we call it hazfu haraka. Yes? However, except إلا الأسماء الستة وإلا المثنى وجمع المذكر السالم وإلا جمع المؤنث وإلا ما لا ينصرف وإلا الأمثلة الخمسة وإلا الفعل المضارع المعتل الآخر. So all of these are exemptions from the Arab Asli. So the original Arab, and then we have exemptions from the original Arab. Asma'u Sitta, when they're marfu, what do they have? Wow, mansoob, alif, and majroor, ya. Muthanna, jam'ul mudhakkar salim, well, they're slightly different in mansoob, marfu state. This is marfu with an alif, and this is marfu with a wow. And they're both mansoob and majroor with a ya. Yes? Jam'ul mu'annas salim, or ulad and ma jumi'a bi alifin wa ta'in mazidatayn, when it's marfu, dhamma, majroor, kasra. غير منصرف مرفوع ضمة مجرورا منصوب فتحة. أمثلة الخمسة, the 5 صيغة which have نون إعراب at the end, they're مرفوع بثبوت النون and مجرور and منصوب with حذف النون. And فعل المضارع المعتل الآخر is where well, we haven't done ضمة مقدرة yet, but what do we say here? منصوب بفتحة, it's not been mentioned, but there is مجزوم with حذف الآخر. So far, you understood this? Yes? Mustafa, you following?
The trustworthiness, faith.
Okay. Everybody else understood? Umar? Ji. Okay, so we stop here today, inshallah. Okay, subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.